Are you searching for a deeper understanding of yourself and your place in the world? Do you yearn for more balance, more peace, and purpose in your life? Well, look no further than the Intuitive Revolution podcast, your trusted source for holistic insights and intuitive guidance. I'm your host, Alicia Faricelli, and I am ready to take you on a journey to inner peace and balanced well-being. Thank you, Suzanne, so much for coming out today, speaking with me, telling me all about your somatic trauma healing. And I'm just so excited to learn all these fun nuggets from you. So to get started, you've journeyed from chronic anxiety and emotional eating to self-healer. Can you share the key turning points and alternative approaches that led to your transformation and the shedding of layers of dysfunction?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So, I grew up in the Northeast, a very, very hectic nervous system. And I was, I grew up, I'm a Gen Xer. So it was a lot of Western medicine was the only answer. It was a lot of pharmaceutical drugs and just kind of white knuckling life. And I just wanted something different for myself. And there wasn't anything that was so mainstream. So I had to go on a quest. So I found some really cool, holistic alternative that I was exploring. The first was hypnosis. Then the second was neuro-linguistic programming, NLP for short, and then was energy methods, and then came, more the nervous system regulation techniques. And this spans like a 20-year healing quest that I have been on. And all of those tools I started to bring into my life. And one by one, I was able to just kind of find a way to weave them together to be my own, toolkit of things that I was using. And I was able to, really dramatically lessen my chronic anxiety to the point where I got off all my medications over 15 years ago. I dropped hundreds of pounds. I was an emotional overeater, significant. By the time I graduated college, I was almost 500 pounds. And so here I am, like a healthy body weight, a few decades later. So all these things I brought into my life became my own, regulation toolbox. And I'm such a natural teacher. I just wanted to kind of put it out there to share with other people, like, hey, if you're struggling with this too, you might want to try these things. And I think today's day and age, people are more open to looking at holistic alternative approaches because some of the Western stuff just isn't cutting it anymore. It's not giving them the experience of genuine aliveness that I think that people want to experience life with.
Yes. And I find that they're looking for more, not just a Band-Aid. They want an overall fix. They don't want just the Band-Aid solution.
Yes.
They want to heal from them and just not have to deal with this anymore. And the more the education that gets out about, ancestral trauma being passed down, things that they're like, we're done, we're stopping, we're starting over, brand new. It's a huge, just an exciting enlightenment that's coming. Let's hear. So, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Somatic stress and trauma release solutions are the core of your work. So how do techniques like TRE and Neuro-Energy Tapping empower individuals on their healing journeys, and what makes them accessible for self-healing?
So, I think along the way of anyone's healing journey, the first stop is to go to talk therapy or talk to somebody. And I think we've just exhausted the talking. We just are either looping in our story or we're staying stuck in an emotion. And so it's really just time to get in the body, because they've been saying for years, and you've probably heard it before, you have to heal it to feel it. But that means you have to feel it to heal it. So if you have to feel it, how are you going to feel it? You don't feel it in your brain. You don't feel it in your mind. You feel it in your body. So although we know this expression, feel it to heal it, we really have to learn how to feel. So the somatic trauma release work really is to help people build rapport with their own body, to tolerate sensation, to tolerate the experience of an emotion, which we don't have a lot of capacity or tolerance for. So once we learn to understand that our body has sensation and how to experience that, and knowing that it's normal and it's okay, and stick with it and kind of let it move through us, that's the real, feeling healing work. And then, as for, and that's the trauma release TRE work that I do, trauma release exercises work. The neuro-energy tapping, you may have heard it as EFT, emotional freedom technique. I've heard it as the tapping solution. That's kind of the most popular, more recent, with the Ortner brother-sister team of Nick and Jessica Ortner. And they're great. They're going out there and evangelizing tapping, but there's so many different approaches to tapping. I've been tapping since the year 2000, believe it or not. And I learned from Gary Craig, who coined EFT. But along the way, when I learned about nervous system regulation therapy, which I learned, over a decade ago, so it's a very popular term now, but I learned it. And I was really starting to dissect what tapping was really doing. And so very simply, it's a self-use acupressure technique that helps you to, shift how you feel and experience your emotions, both in the sense of the story that you might be telling yourself about that emotion and then the experience of the emotion itself. And how that technically happens is the tapping actually helps you to calm down your body so you can stay present in your experience of what it is you might be going through, whether it's that emotion or that story. And that's all the feeling healing work, is being present in our experience of stress, whether that stress is a physical stress, emotional, or mental. So neuro-energy tapping is just kind of my way at conveying that what we're really doing is within the body. It's within the body, and we're helping the body stay present with the experience of stress. And when we do that, the other side of that is we come out with more peace and wisdom. And it's not something that you have to force or reframe or think differently about or be convinced about or, just change this. It will happen for you naturally when you just let it move through you. So combine the trauma release exercises, which helps your body to naturally unwind and relax. And then also the neuro-energy tapping, if you're just kind of stuck on an emotion or a story, helps your body relax so that you can be present in the moment and let whatever that thing is move through you with more patience. Because we just want to kind of over with now.
Yeah, people think, especially with the tapping, it's such a quick fix. It's not. It's, to me, it's a daily, just a habit to get into, to keep those intermittent meridians going and keep the energy flowing and the emotions out. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, stuck and stagnant energy means pain and disease to the body and brain. And that pain or disease could be physical, emotional, or mental. And so tapping is just another brilliant tool that we can use to help our bodies stay more comfortably uncomfortable and present in the face of whatever we're going through. That way we can move it through us as opposed to burying it somewhere in the body and the brain.
Yeah. And then causing more distress to your body.
Yeah. Yeah. And then add a couple of decades onto that, and it just becomes kind of your behavior pattern or personality or just something that you limit yourself by. And yeah, it doesn't need to be that way.
Right. I love you said that. It doesn't need to be that way. That's such a powerful statement. The people, they need to know, like, you don't have to go through the trauma. You don't have to go through where you are with your life. You can change things.
Yeah. Well, there's a brilliant word called neuro. Yeah, you can become a whole new person. And people say, oh, no, that's not for me. It's for everybody else. It can be you, because there is a brilliant word called neuroplasticity, which means that our body and brain have the ability to adapt and change and grow, which means we don't have a life sentence to whatever it is we're stressed about. But you have to be willing and persistent. You have to be, because, you don't take a 600-mile-an-hour plane and turn it around on a dime. You just don't. It's going to take a wide turn. So sometimes it may look like, well, nothing's changing, but you have to be willing and persistent. Your problems didn't get born overnight. And so they're going to take some time to unravel.
Right. Right. I think I heard on my Ed Milet podcast a couple of weeks ago. It was like, what you're doing now is going to pay off in 90 days. Or in 6 months. If you're doing positive things you're doing now, it will pay off in 6 months. If you're not doing anything, it's going to pay off. You're going to see yourself backwards in 90 days. I thought that to me was powerful, eye-opening.
I remind people all the time that everybody has a right to dysfunction. You can stay where you're at. No, if that's what you choose. But if you're really, but life is not for the faint of heart. You really have to be willing and persistent to kind of even just claw your way through life a little bit to get ahead back to where, kind of a baseline would be, where you can start really living with genuine aliveness. And it takes some effort on your part. It's not going to be easy.
Right. But it's worth it.
It is. And just one small shift at a time.
Yeah. So as someone with personal experience and 18 years as a trauma therapist, what insights have you gained about the mind-body connection and the importance of addressing trauma in the body for holistic wellness?
So, like I mentioned, so much of traditional therapy has been in talk therapy. And, I feel like the body's making its debut. It's like, hey, I'm here. There's a lot of mainstream authors that are out there now, like, and even just scientists and neuropsychologists like Dr. Bessel van der Kolk and Dr. Gabor Mate, who are writing books that people are reading, which is mentioning how important the body is for whole integrated healing. You know, you can't just change your mind about how you want to see an experience. It's not going to last. You can say, oh, well, I'm going to make that yellow bus purple in my mind, and I'm just going to stick with it, and that's how it is, until one day it's yellow again. And that's where you just need to go into the body, and the body will do that transmutation, that transformation, that metabolizing, that process that it needs to go through in order for you to have the option to change the color of anything or change anything about anything. And it's not going to be that you have to like force it. So I think so much of the previous ways of healing have been about just do this and you'll get a result, but it's not long term. And this is why on my own quest, I started with hypnosis and was like, oh, this is amazing. And I changed some things in my subconscious, but it didn't stick. And then I looked at neuro-linguistic programming and I thought, okay, well, now I'll change the submodalities of how I experience what I see and I hear and I feel and I taste and I smell. Didn't stick. It was like I really needed to understand that the body and brain need deep, meaningful experiences that contradict how I've done something in the past. And it has to be consistent, and it has to be just as emotionally valuable as the way that I used to do things. And that's what takes the work.
Yeah.
That's what takes the work. So that's where, whatever you might be struggling with, a physical chronic issue, an emotional issue, a mental issue, a mental health issue, it's time to include the body as a part of the healing journey, because there's so much wisdom in the body and we've neglected the body for so long, but we have to help it feel calm and safe. Not just calm, but deeply relaxed and safe. And we don't have a lot of that in the experience of the people that we know. Family, friends, job, activities. Consistency is a big term here. So we've got to learn how to do that for ourselves.
Yeah.
And sure, there's going to be days where you make 10 strides forwards. Other days you take 8 steps back. And another day you take 3 steps forward, you take 5 steps back. It's not a linear journey like that. You're going to go back and forth and back and forth. But that is the game of life.
It is. And what creates such beautiful experiences for us. Things that we learn from, things that we enjoy. It's just those steps forward and step back and embracing that. And just, again, like you said, consistency, keep going forward, keep at it. Yeah.
Keep at it, because no one's going to do it for you. They're just not. And there is no magic pill. There isn't. When people go, oh my gosh, well, look what happened to this person overnight. No, it was just the next logical step of what they had been going through. It's never just like some miracle that happens. It's people. This is why a lot of people, you don't see from them for a while. Then all of a sudden they post something on social media like, look what I've accomplished. I dropped 50 pounds, or I have a new job, or I created this for myself. It's like they really went inward. It's a very, very deeply personal experience to heal. And it can be a very lonely, and isolating experience, because you can't really do anything that is going to enlist other people in your journey as much as we want to. And there really is nothing outside of ourselves that is going to give us the longevity of the healing as much as we can figure out inside of ourselves.
Yes. And I find like a healing journey, like you heal to a certain point, but there's always something more to keep healing from, because you have traumas that come up every day. I call them traumas. They're not necessarily traumas, but everybody calls everything's trauma now. Things that happen in your life that create impressions on you that get stored back, stored inside of you. You have to continue to release that. And people think, oh, I know it, I'm good, I'm at a topping. And it's like, no, that's when you get just like sideswiped.
Yeah, I mean, trauma is just, 15, 18 years ago when I started this work, it was like a dirty word. Like, oh, I don't have trauma. I've never been raped. I've never had, a gunshot to, in front of me. And that's how people categorize trauma. And now they're just like, oh, everybody's got trauma. So people are more comfortable with the word and their identity to connect with it. But some people stay there and like to get stuck there. And it really validates their being a victim in the world. when truly we need to embrace, trauma recovery, and we can recover.
Yeah, absolutely. So your stress release toolbox includes somatic regulation techniques. I'm going to say that again because my thing's like cut off here. Your stress release toolbox includes somatic regulation techniques. Can you explain how these techniques reprogram and rewire the whole mind, encompassing the body, the nervous system, the brain, to alleviate and resolve? This is a long freaking sentence. I'm going to rephrase this. So your stress release toolbox includes somatic regulation techniques. Can you tell me a little bit about how this works to encompass your body, your nervous system, your brain, and how it really helps with chronic stress and trauma symptoms?
Sure. So first and foremost, the body can only recover when you're in a deep state of rest. If you go to sleep and you're wrestling and around and you don't wake up completely refreshed, well, then you've really done nothing. You just kind of kept your stress, your chronic stress and your trauma still buried in your body. So the tools that I offer are brilliant because they're all self-use. They're things that you can learn how to operate your brain and your nervous system and your mind so that you can understand where you might be stuck and how to get unstuck. And once you can, it's like getting a brand new car and like, how do I drive this thing? Well, it's like, welcome to your body and your brain. These tools that I teach you are all self-use, self-activated. They're fun and easy things to do. You can do them any time of day or night. And what they're doing is ultimately helping your body get back to a state of deep, comfortable peace so that it can restore. If you cut your finger right now, all your resources would go to begin to start to scab up on that, that cut. And if you kept picking that cut open, it would keep bleeding. It could go on for weeks. It could go on for months if you just kept picking that open. And that's kind of how we are living life. We go to sleep, the scab comes, and we wake up and we pick it again because we keep doing the same thing over and over again. And we're not getting to a place where we're just like, stop picking it. So the metaphor for that would be these that I teach help your body get into a state of deep healing. That way, all the resources that go to start healing that cut can heal it, and the scab will fall off, and the scar will be there or not be there, and you'll be healed from it. And you don't need to, everything that I teach, like I said, is self-use. You don't need to go to a practitioner or like do an hour worth of like a yoga class or go get a massage, which some of those things are nice to do. But you can do these things anytime, anywhere. And it can be just a few minutes at a time that you do them. And it can be in the moment of your triggers, in the moment of your stress. And that's the difference between, being empowered and taking your healing in your own hands and becoming a self-healer, as opposed to, oh, now I've got to go talk to my whoever or go to my appointment to go get someone else to do something to me. I can do this on my own. So our body is able to heal. It needs deep states of comfort and relaxation in order to recover. And the tools I teach are self-use that can be done anytime, any place, that help the body quickly and deeply relax so that it can start that recovery process. And then from there, we can begin to unwind whatever it is that we've got as a symptom. And again, be willing and persistent because it was not created overnight. So we need some time to help the body process. But the body's not processing if we just keep picking the scab. If we just keep picking the scab or going to the same situation that keeps cutting us, right, making us bleed and creating more of the same problem, we're not going to recover.
Absolutely. I love that analogy of the scab. Can you go into a little detail, maybe give us an example of some of the techniques, maybe one or two examples of techniques that you send clients home with?
Yeah, sure. So one of the first things I love to do is exhale. And that's because stress has us holding our breath. And then not only are we holding our breath, but we're taking little tiny sips of air. We don't breathe fully. So about 35 to 50% of our lungs are full of stale air. So exhale all that air out of your lungs. And what that does is it begins to signal to your body that the stress is over, that it can relax. Imagine if you had to kind of run like a 50-yard dash or something. The first thing that would do when you heard that kind of like that go signal to go off, you tighten and squeeze your body in, you inhale really deeply, and you'd run until the race was over. And then what would you do? You'd relax your body and you'd exhale. So it's the exhale that signals the body that whatever that stress is over. So just exhaling is so great. That's one thing easily to do. And you can do that a couple times a day. Another one that I love is humming. Humming you can do anytime, any place. And the reason for that is you want to vibrate the back of the throat, because there's a nerve that runs along the back of your throat that communicates to your brain, am I safe or am I not safe? And because we live in such a low-grade chronic stress all the time, we kind of have a bumpy ride in that messenger system between the body and the brain. And humming helps to smooth out that messenger. That way we get more appropriate messages of threat. Appropriate meaning like, yeah, we're really in danger here, as opposed to, oh my gosh, I missed the exit, or I can't find my phone, or, we kind of over catastrophize these little things in our life as being, life or death, and they're just not. So when we hum, we start to vibrate the back of the throat. It vibrates that nerve and helps to smooth everything out. That way, in the face of like, oh, I missed the exit, or I can't find my shoes, or I can't find my phone, you stay calm and relaxed, because you know it's right around here. You're going to be fine. You're not going to die if you don't find these things. So humming is great.
That's funny you say that, because I used to like hum like, I'm so upset right now.
Yeah.
As more of a sarcastic thing, but I guess there's such a psychological component to that. That's very interesting to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, awesome. So conscious evolution through somatic trauma release is a powerful concept. Could you elaborate on how these techniques help individuals evolve into their consciousness and self-healing journeys?
Sure. So you have to appreciate that like 95% of the time we're just all walking around unconscious and living off of our subconscious programming. So the more we can become present and conscious in our day, that might look like mindfulness or thoughtfulness. It also can look like having tolerance and space and capacity to be in the moment with anything that's threatening, and not check out into our coping mechanism, into our, unhealthy behavior pattern. The more we stay present, we build our consciousness. And, I think we're living in these transformative times where it really is about evolving our consciousness, so we can be more intentional in how we live our lives, as opposed to just the programming that we may have inherited from our family, our culture, our religion, or and making conscious choices about what is going to honor our unique value and what we appreciate, and how we want to be intentional about things. I think we don't even realize how many choices that we make just based on our programming, but about 95% of our life is just kind of ruled by, like I said, the unconscious and the subconscious programming. So these tools help you feel more safe and comfortable in your body. That way you can expand that tolerance for your consciousness. And with that expansion, that space that you have, you've got more choices. You've got more creativity flowing. You've got more of an honoring of, how does my body feel in this moment? What are the intuitive impulses I might be feeling? And then practice, pulling that through in terms of, okay, I'm at a red light and my body's telling me to go right, but my mind is telling me to go left. Well, maybe just explore what your gut is telling you, and just see, oh yeah, look, I forgot I was going to go get this today, and now my body told me that, and now here I am, and now I can pick up this thing that I would have forgotten or not gotten because I was trying to follow my mind. And so I think we become more at peace, and we live with more aliveness and even joy in our experience when we're living full mind-body connection.
Yes.
I mean, we've been saying mind body for 20 years or even longer, but what does it really mean? It means we're going to harmonize, what we're thinking with how we're feeling, and what we're feeling with how we're thinking. So those two things can combine, because right now they're very disjointed. They're very just separate. So these tools help us to kind of have that capacity and space internally. That way we can start to harmonize that mind and the body to work as one. And then we start to live by our intuitive impulses and know that they're going to take us in the right direction.
Yes. I love, like you said, we're so disconnected now. And people don't quite understand, like you said, the mind-body connection. I call it mind-body-spirit connection. I think they all tie in together, where one is not ruling over the other one. They're all working together in sync. And so I'm so happy that you brought that up.
Yeah. So, I mean, imagine like a very simple way. There's two really easy techniques to help you start to build trust with your rapport and your body signals. One of them is when your body tells you that you have to go to the bathroom, please go. Do not go into a negotiation with your body like, oh, wait a minute, I got to return 3 phone calls and unload the groceries and send these 2 text messages. And no, your body's giving you a message. I would be like petting your body, like, thank you so much for the message, and run to the bathroom. Do not wait. So that's how you start to kind of like, and then you're like, thank you, give me more messages. That's one way to start to kind of build connection with your body. And the second is, do you know the difference between hell yes and hell no? I mean, they feel like really different. You're like, oh no, definitely not, as opposed to, oh yes, that feels right. So when you're experiencing something, if you're kind of like in the maybe state, then you don't make a decision. You really want to be as crystal clear as no or yes. And so what does a hell yes feel like? What does a hell no feel like? And really make sure you make decisions based on that ringing true clarity of the hell yes, hell no.
Yes,
the
feelings.
Yes, the feelings.
Yes, the feeling, all about the feelings. So you've spoken about building capacity for life's future stresses. Can you provide practical examples or exercises that listeners can implement in the moment of stress to help rationalize the backlog of trauma in their body?
Yeah, so I mentioned about the techniques that I use, trauma release exercises, neuro-energy tapping. These are tools to help us to stay more present in our body's experience, helping it unwind and unravel back from states of threat into states of safe connection, and having that experience of being able to recover when you're in deep, rest. So all of those things combined, being willing and persistent in doing them, is going to help you build space to handle any future stress. So what that looks like is, say something bad happens, and that could be like a phone call that has bad news, or an experience you're having that's kind of overwhelming you, that you can stay present with it just a little bit longer without getting super emotional, without getting completely stuck, without letting you kind of kick you off into the sidelines, the bushes of life. Like, you can stay present with it. So that's what it means to have capacity for more stress. And then also, these tools help you to rationalize and bring forward any of the backlog that we might have of a trauma pattern in our body, which really just is the body's fear and state of overwhelm that has been stuck since whenever it got stuck. And we just keep putting it and dogpiling on it when we don't take the time to allow the body to recover enough to bring that stuff forward and unravel and unwind for us. That way it's just not, and we come into more alignment. And alignment is the harmonization between the brain and the body. So trauma is just, the body living in the past, the brain living in the future, and you have to bring these two things together. And that's what it means to kind of open and process your trauma. And I want to just say, you don't ever let anything go. You don't ever release anything. Those are words that we use to help us feel like we've accomplished something or that we need to do something, when truly what we're doing is we're processing our experiences and letting them be a part of us with much more peace and wisdom. That way we're not living our life by our trauma. And I use this very simple analogy of, we look both ways before we cross the road, right? And we just know that's wise. That's wise to do. We look both ways before we cross the road. Do we have to remember every time we're going to cross the road, well, there was this one time that somebody didn't look both ways, and this is what happened, and oh my God, and it was this horrible trick. No, we don't have, but that's what happens when we have trauma in the body. We keep going back to the story of what happened, and instead of just landing on the wisdom of look both ways and you'll be okay.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
Mm-hmm. So we have to go back there, let the body go there, process whatever the experience was, bring it forward and land it within us with more peace and wisdom. And again, this is not something that you have to convince yourself of or think about in your mind and create this new story. It will happen for you naturally when you give your body the chance to deeply rest and recover and process. So that way, All of our feelings are valid. All the emotions are allowed in our body. The anger, hatred, the jealousy, the rage, the love, the joy, the boredom, all belongs within you. We just don't want to have one of them being too big, or bigger than the other, because all those feelings together can kind of harmonize together, and they all are allowed to live within us. But people don't understand. They want to push anger away. They want to push anxiety away. They want to push all this, rage away and frustration. They all belong. It's just when they're bigger than the other ones, we have to start to balance them out. So that's how we do it. Good to help the body relax, open and process, so that they can sit within us with more peace and wisdom.
Thanks for bringing up that emotions are okay. It's okay, and you should feel the emotions. It creates a more joyful experience life. It makes you not just, feel numb and robotic. Creating these, thank you for just bringing that up. That was great.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Your online programs are designed to help people get started on their healing journeys. Could you describe the essential tools and techniques that these programs offer to individuals looking to transform their lives?
Sure. So, after working with clients for 15, 20 years, I kind of felt myself repeating myself over and over and over again. That's why I created the online program, which was it's broken up into 3 sections. The first is a very, basic science of stress and nervous system regulation. And those are big words, even though we think we know what they mean. And I break it down in real simple terms to help you understand what's going on in your body and your brain. That way you've got a little bit of a foundation of what's happening. So that way the second section of the program really gives you tons of, step-by-step, videos where you're watching somebody demonstrate to you exactly what you need to do in the context of somatic work, vagal toning, neuro-energy tapping, and other energy methods. So all of my favorite things that I use in my toolbox that I teach my clients, the whole second section of this program is for you to kind of do along with the videos, and then pick your own toolbox step. The third section of the program is, after everything we just went through, what do you like? What do you don't like? Put together what you like into your own little toolbox. And then here's how we're going to take a check line. Like, you're going to do it for a week. See where it fits into your life. See what results you might be experiencing from it. And then say, hey, you know what? I'm going to swap out this tool for this one and do it into next week and then next week. And then every month or every quarter, or every few months, you're going to take a look and say, am I still using these tools? What works for me? What doesn't work for me? What do I like? What I don't like? And you could always go back and rewatch your program, because as you evolve, you might like some other of the tools that you learned in section 2 that you want to bring into your life. So start with whatever's resonate with you and practice it. And I show you I explain to you when to use these tools, why you use them, how often you use them, how to make them a part of your life. And then just constantly using this as your reference source for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And as you find different tools for different seasons, different things you're going through.
Yeah. It's
not just a one tool for one fits all.
No, and anyone's telling you that just one tool, one modality, no. It's, you need a combination of things. And like you mentioned, you do breath work. It's like, if you like that, great, use it. It might not be my cup of tea or somebody else's, and that's fine. Look, you don't like what I have to share, go find other resources out there. It's fine. But whatever you find, practice the hell out of it, because you need tools and skills.
Yeah.
So, I think what I have come across and what has worked for me, I love to share. If it doesn't resonate with you, I don't take a personal offense to it. I know there's a lot of free information out there on YouTube and other social media, and it looks great at the surface level, but nobody tells you how to use it, when to use it, why to use it, and that's what my program is different about. It takes just a handful of my favorite things and explains to you what's going on in your body and your brain, why these tools are helpful, how they're helping you, and how to use them for the rest of your life. It's just a great, step-by-step, easy to understand experience to go through.
And accessible for everyone. You don't have to be in Florida.
True. No, yeah, it can be worldwide.
That's amazing. So as someone who teaches workshops on somatic stress release with TRE and other innovative techniques, what have you observed in the terms of profound shifts and breakthroughs that participants experience during these sessions?
So TRE, trauma release exercise, is one of the modalities that I love. What I've learned in doing these workshops is every body is different. It's just so fascinating that we compare ourselves to each other as if we're exactly the same, and we're just so different. And we are one, we're all humans, but our bodies are all unique. It's a unique situation for everybody. So every body's body wakes up to sensation differently. And everybody processes sensation differently. Everybody unwinds patterns in their body differently. It might look a little bit the same, but there are no two bodies alike. And what I've really come to appreciate is that everybody is going to unwind and process in their own time, in their own way. And again, going back to if this modality resonates with you, TRE resonates with you, great. You can use it anytime, any place for 10 or 15 or 30 seconds at a time. You can learn how to activate this neurogenic tremoring shaking experience, which is a very natural way for the body to recover. But if you don't like that, then you can use another technique. You can go find something else and see if it's as effective. What I found in the workshops is that every body is different, and we often we judge ourselves based on, well, I don't look like that, or it looks like they're having a different experience. You might be lying there having a very mild, vibrational experience, and somebody else looks like they're really kind of flopping around like a fish, because it can look like that when you're unwinding a tension pattern in the body. And you think, well, I'm not getting the same benefit, or I'm not, no, it's really, you can't compare what the body looks like when it's going through its healing process. And also I want to note that, every body has a different response to threat. Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so how can somatic stress and trauma release complement traditional therapeutic approaches? And what advice do you have to individuals seeking a holistic path to healing?
So I think if you're in traditional therapy, talk therapy, it's one. I think I don't have anything against talk therapy. I think it's definitely an important part of the process. It's just not the entirety of the process. And so bringing in the somatic work is very, very complementary. It helps you be able to have some skills in the moment of being in your therapy session. If you're emotionally flooded out and you just can't stop crying, or you can't access your emotion, to, in both instances, have kind of bring a rhythm and some pulsation to your body. That way you can help your body process what you're going through, as opposed to just staying stuck. So somatics is great because it's very complementary. And even if you aren't into talk therapy, you can still do these things on your own, and then notice as you begin to unwind some trauma patterns in your body, what kind of storylines are you thinking about? What emotions are you experiencing? Because they say that the issues are in our tissues. So somatic means body. And what are we doing first when we're doing a trauma release? Well, we are loosening that fascia, fibrous, cellulose stuff that holds our muscles and joints together to, and helps to loosen that fascia so the body can unwind a tension pattern. It can be a small tension pattern, it could be a big one, to help the body relax. So yes, somatics is extremely helpful, whether you're in talk therapy or not, to help you, unwind those tension patterns, unwind those trauma patterns, and come into a new type of alignment. So great to do when you're in a therapy session, after your therapy session, or even on your own.
Yeah, love that. So looking ahead, what is your vision for the future of holistic wellness and self-healing? And how do you see your work continuing to empower individuals on their journey?
Well, I think that we're coming into times where people are open to and interested in knowing how to become a self-healer. I don't think it's oh, I need to go see my shaman or my energy healer. We all have the same ability. Just some people are tuned in and tapped in more than other people. And you can be tapped into your own source of healing too. Just like the flower leans toward the sun, our bodies have a predisposition to heal ourselves. We just need to get in alignment with that self-healing capability and find the tools that help us recognize that we are self-healers. So I'm not teaching anybody to be a self-healer. I am helping people on a healing journey make those important breakthroughs so that they can become aware that they can heal themselves. because going forward, it's a lot of, you know, our stress and trauma are very unique to us. It's not one size fits all. So you're going to have to become really attuned to your body and giving it what it needs. You know, go to the gas station, we put the same kind of gas in our car. But yeah, when it comes to our healing, it's very, very individual.
Yeah.
And so we have to learn to become a self-healer, because we can't just go fill up with something externally. It's not going to work.
Yeah, not at least not for the long run.
No, exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much. I've learned a tremendous amount. I can't even explain. I know our listeners are going to be in love with this episode, and they're going to learn so many things. All your information is going to be in the show notes. And if anybody wants to reach out to you, that's where they can find the information. Again, thank you so much
For having me.